This episode, I'm talking about something that I've never talked about before. It is all about how to position yourself in a category of one. Now, if you've never heard of that before, bear with me. And if you're new here, I'm Coach Megan, founder and CEO of Powerhouse Pageantry and high performance coach, here to help you win your pageant. So stay tuned all the way to the end because you're going to strap in and learn a lot today that you've never heard anywhere else. Okay, so what is category of one messaging? First and foremost, this is kind of a businessy term, so it's okay if you've never heard of it. But what this means is basically how to position yourself. And what I mean by positioning is it's a really, really important word that we use in advertising and marketing that basically says, here is why I am at a certain caliber, a certain standard, and here is why you should know, like, and trust me. This is what causes people to buy from everything from e-commerce stores that's a gut instinct purchase to something on Amazon to an order at a restaurant to ultimately what causes you to say yes to somebody, to go on a date with them, as well as, yes, you might have caught on by now, this is how judges pick you in a pageant as well. We have known and you have heard that pageants are incredibly subjective, but I think that that's used as a negative term, and I want to reframe that today. My job as a mindset coach, obviously, but I want to reframe that's actually a good thing if you know how to play the game. If you don't know anything about me and you're new here, I won both of my titles, Miss Nebraska and Miss Nebraska USA, on my first attempt. And while I'm really proud of that, there were also some downfalls to that because I didn't have coaching like this, where a person could really take my raw components, and ultimately formulate brand positioning around me that would take my raw talent and know how to authentically yet strategically package it in a way that was really, really ready to be presented to the judges at a national level. That's something that I was able to kind of figure out myself at the state level, but I don't think it would have worked if I was Miss Texas or Miss North Carolina or Miss California. I definitely have a natural it factor that I've carried since I was a little girl, and I've done a ton of work on myself, but at that time I was lagging in some of the other indicators that I didn't realize were actually disintegrating my positioning. So I'm going to get into those things. What actually creates positioning in the first place? And then again, why is subjectivity in pageants actually, I believe, a good thing, which is definitely not what you're going to hear from any other pageant coach in the industry, which is part of my category of one, positioning. So first and foremost, what are things that help and hurt your positioning? So things that help your positioning are definitely going to be the first impressions. So your hair and makeup, your aesthetic. Do you look like you know how to do the job? Number 2 is going to be your bio, your social media, your headshots. If these things are wonky or look like they're telling 9 different stories that have 9 different personalities, then that is actually going to delete some immediate trust, because it's going to cause judges to be curious about you, but not in a good way. It's going to cause judges to say, can she handle this? Is she the kind of person that keeps her word? Or is she, a person who's going out to the club and then she's at the Humane Society the next day and then she's shaking hands with the governor? But if it's not really matching together, it's going to absolutely hurt you. Again, if you didn't listen to last week's episode, the CEO of Miss USA, Tom, just announced that he wants to create 10,000 female millionaires in the next 10 years. I have literally been preaching this from the mountaintops for 10 years. In June, it will be the 10th year of my company officially. And I think it is just so cool that this is all happening on my centennial, and how Tom was like, 10,000 millionaires, 10 years. I was like, are we in sync here? Like, this is amazing. So those are kinds of things that will hurt your positioning, is if that does not tell the same story. So on the other behalf, if you have a consistent look, right? Like I'm kind of changing it. I'm trying a new look right now. I got some bangs, but for the longest time, like 2020 to 2025, I was straight hair, middle part, not a whole lot of makeup. And now that I'm even elevating my brand, I have goals of hitting 7 figures this year. I'm realizing how much the way that I show up, if I want to reach the ideal client that I do, which is a mompreneur person who is running a business with a couple kids running around and wanting to reach 7 figures herself, or even 8 figures, then I have to look the part. I have to be relatable and trustworthy, because not that I ever looked like a slob, but looking like a slob, for example, is if that's not congruently a match for the job that you want and the customer that you want to reach and the people that you want to have influence and impact over their life, there's an element of people trusting people that are the same as them. And there's an element of safety and protection that comes with that. So you want to make sure that you're doing that customer avatar, ideal client profile research to know whether what you're doing is actually hitting. And again, you could be saying all the right words, but not looking the part. And that could actually be what's ruining and causing you to not translate. Now, on the other half, you also could look the part, which increases your positioning, but then slop comes out of your mouth and you have no clarity. Your platform is totally in name only. You're using buzzwords. You're recycling words that the last 3 title holders used because you're trying to model like what worked for them, but it's totally not right for you in any capacity. They have different values. They're 6 foot tall and you're 5'2", and you're trying to wear the same things, do the same things, be the same things. That's just not going to match, and that inauthenticity is very much going to make the judges put their guards up as well. So those are just a few things that you can try to increase your positioning and also safeguard yourself from decreasing your positioning and causing you to just be another name or number in the crowd, and the judges just frankly don't even remember you. They quite actually kind of ignore you because they just don't even know who you are, okay? So now last but not least, why I think that subjectivity is actually one of the greatest parts of pageantry. I'm not saying it can't bite you in the butt because, of course, if a judge wants somebody 6 feet tall and you're 5'2", like it's just not going to work. It doesn't mean that you should go get leg extensions or wear stilts, right? But what it does mean is that the judges are actually using their crocodile brain more than we think that they are. And here's what I mean by that. When they're using their crocodile brain more than their logical brain, they might think that they're using their logical brain, but so much of scoring as a judge is actually a gut feeling. And so we, on our behalf, can make them fall in love with us using buyer psychology behavior, using psychology, using our physiology to show up as somebody that positions ourselves in a category of one. There's no one like us. We're unique, we're special, we're different. And if you can combine this with really knowing how to talk about what we call at Powerhouse, your heroine story, knowing how to talk about here's what sucked, here's how I said yes to the journey, here's who I became in my character and my confidence and my competency along the road, and then here's how I want to help other people in the future. And then I add physiology, I add aesthetics, I add drive, I show all my character attributes that, and I have clarity in which I'm speaking, right? Then it's going to be undeniable that you are the girl to beat. And it's going to create this energy around you because, again, authenticity is the highest vibrating frequency. That if you're showing up as this girl who knows who she is, she's confident, she's taking up space in her authentic self, she's not trying to put on a mask or be anybody else or fit in anybody else's box. Like, she's just genuinely happy, living and existing in her lane. And guess what? Here's the final piece. She was doing all the stuff that she needed to do to be the title holder before she wanted to be the title holder. This is the key, okay? I can sniff a mile away if you created a platform because you had to. Or you're faking like you're involved in all these nonprofits and you literally did one community service project. Or you're faking like you care about education because you know that the organization cares about education, okay? Just be yourself. And this is where at Powerhouse Pageantry, we come alongside of people, and our greatest joy is to help package that brand positioning, that category of one, to truly separate you from everybody else in a way that will far exceed and extend beyond pageantry, right? I'm working with mothers now that are having second careers in pageantry because they want to grow a public speaking career. They want to grow an online business, right? You want to be a content creator. You want to have your own private law firm or an online coaching business, which I've helped people with, right? There's so many exciting doors that pageantry can open. But what you don't want it to do is you don't want to put on this mask of even winning as somebody totally different than who you are. And now people expect you to continue to be that after you win. And you have to go through a whole other brand audit and identity audit and like slowly try to pull back this brand that you were pretending that you're exhausted trying to be and now reinvent this totally new brand and identity. You're probably actually going to go into hiding for 6 to 12 months because you're so flipping exhausted being somebody that you weren't, okay? So this is how we create category of messaging in 2026. I'm going to be talking about this endlessly. And if you guys are ready to apply for our Pageant Academy, where we strategically help you step by step, you get to work with my Avengers team of pageant coaches, and you are ready to win. You are ready to be that it girl in 2026. Then you guys can click the link below to be able to apply. If it lets you apply, then there are still spots available. And last but not least, I'm not 100% sure if this is still open because I'm recording this in advance, but we did have 15 spots open for my, what I like to call my tiny challenge. And this is for $47. You get to spend 2 days with me, 2 sessions one-on-one with me. This is for really, really high caliber clients who know that they've done a lot of the skill set work and now they have an identity block. They know that something internal is actually keeping them from reaching that 7 figures or starting the business or losing those final 10 pounds or getting out of the cycle of toxic relationships or whatever that limiting factor is that you're like, I just don't know how to get here, but you might even have a vision for it, right? And you want to break generational curses, you want to break cycles in your family, all these kinds of things. I would love to help you. The link for that tiny challenge is below. And again, normally I charge $25,000 for these types of things for my high level mastermind. So please don't join if you're just going to waste my time. But if you know that you have a mindset or internal issue that you would love breakthrough in just 2 days, I know this is going to blow your mind and far exceed your expectations. And these are some of my favorite things that I ever get to do and how I can give back. And I only do this 4 times a year. So don't walk, run, click those links below, and I will see you guys next week.